Hey there, fellow Canucks. Let's talk about our beloved loonie, the Canadian dollar. Remember when it was riding high? Those were the days. Now it's been on a bit of a slide. Could it really hit 50 cents? That's a big drop. Imagine paying double for your next US vacation. Yikes! But hey, let's not panic. Let's dive into the economic factors that could make this happen. It's going to be a wild ride. The Canadian dollar, affectionately nicknamed the loonie after the loon on its $1 coin, has had its ups and downs. It's been a bit of a roller coaster ride lately. We all know the economy has been a bit shaky. Everything's more expensive now, right? Inflation is a real pain. And that plays a role in how our dollar stacks up against others. The value of our dollar is tied to a bunch of economic factors. Think of it like a giant game of tug-of-war. On one side, we've got things that could boost the loonie. Think strong exports, high demand for our resources, and good old foreign investment. On the other side, we've got factors pulling it down. Inflation, weak global demand, and maybe even political uncertainty can drag our dollar down. So, can the loonie really sink to 50 cents? It's not impossible, but it's not a sure thing either. It all depends on how these economic factors play out. We've got to look at the big picture. We'll explore all the possible scenarios, from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get started. Remember when a bag of chips cost $1? Yeah, me neither. Inflation is the ultimate party pooper, making everything more expensive. And guess what? It can also drag down our loonie. When inflation is high, our money buys less, even within Canada. This weakens our purchasing power, which can make our dollar less attractive to other countries. Think of it like this. If a Canadian dollar buys less in Canada, it'll buy even less in the US or Europe. Why? Because they have their own inflation worries too. So if our inflation is higher than theirs, our dollar looks weaker in comparison. It's like a race to the bottom, and nobody wins. High inflation can also scare away foreign investors. They want their money to grow, not shrink. If they think Canada's economy is too hot, they might take their money elsewhere. This reduces demand for our dollar, putting downward pressure on its value. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. The Bank of Canada is like the superhero fighting inflation. They use interest rates to control spending and keep inflation in check. If they can tame inflation, our dollar might just stay afloat. It's a delicate dance, folks. Canada, we love our exports. From lumber to oil, we sell stuff all over the world. But what happens when those exports take a hit? You guessed it, our dollar might feel the pinch. If global demand for our goods weakens, we're bringing in fewer foreign currencies. This means less demand for the Canadian dollar, and that can push its value down. Imagine this. The price of oil plummets. Suddenly, our oil exports aren't as lucrative. We're earning less US dollars, euros, and yen. This reduces demand for our loonie, and it starts to weaken against those currencies. It's a classic case of supply and demand. It's not just about the prices of our exports either. What if other countries find cheaper alternatives? Or what if they face economic troubles and can't buy as much from us? These scenarios can also hurt our exports and put pressure on the loonie. But hey, it's not all bad news. Canada has a diversified economy. We don't just rely on oil and lumber. We've got manufacturing, technology, and services too. If these sectors thrive, they can compensate for weakness in other areas and keep our dollar strong. Let's talk about oil, baby. Canada is a major oil producer, and the price of oil has a big impact on our loonie. When oil prices are high, we rake in more cash from exports. This increases demand for our dollar and gives it a boost. It's like a shot of espresso for the loonie. But when oil prices drop, so does our export revenue. This weakens demand for our dollar and can cause it to slide. It's like the loonie spills its coffee and feels a bit sluggish. The relationship between oil and the loonie is a bit complicated. It's not always a direct one-to-one relationship. Other factors like global demand, production levels, and even geopolitics can muddy the waters. But one thing's for sure, oil plays a big role in Canada's economy, and its price fluctuations can make the loonie dance, sometimes even to a 50-cent tune. So keep an eye on those oil prices, folks. Section 5, Uncle Sam's Shadow U.S. Economy and the Loonie. Let's face it, we live next door to a giant. The U.S. economy casts a long shadow over Canada, and our dollar feels it. When the U.S. economy is booming, we often benefit too. Increased trade and investment flow north, boosting our loonie. It's like basking in the sunshine of our southern neighbors' success. But when the U.S. economy stumbles, we can catch a cold. Reduced trade, lower investment, and a weaker U.S. dollar can all drag down our loonie. It's like feeling a chill when the wind blows from the south. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. It's like the king of the currency jungle, and the loonie often dances to its tune. When the US dollar strengthens, the loonie tends to weaken, and vice versa. It's a constant game of push and pull. So keep an eye on what's happening south of the border. The US economy's performance can have a big impact on our loonie, even determining whether it dips towards that 50-cent mark. Section 6, Interest Rate Tango, Bank of Canada's Balancing Act. The Bank of Canada, our central bank, plays a crucial role in the loonie's fate. They set interest rates, which influence borrowing, spending, and ultimately, the value of our dollar. It's a delicate balancing act. When the Bank of Canada raises interest rates, it can attract foreign investment seeking higher returns. This increases demand for our dollar and can give it a boost. It's like making the loonie more attractive to international investors. But raising rates too high can stifle economic growth. It makes borrowing more expensive, which can slow down spending and investment. This can weaken our economy and put downward pressure on the loonie. The Bank of Canada has a tough job. They need to find the sweet spot keeping inflation in check while supporting economic growth. Their decisions can make the loonie dance, sometimes even towards that 50-cent mark. Section 7, Foreign Investment FOMO. Will they stay or will they go? Foreign investment is like a popularity contest for the loonie. When investors are pouring money into Canada, it's a sign of confidence in our economy. This increases demand for our dollar and helps keep it strong. It's like the loonie is the life of the party. But if investors get spooked by economic uncertainty, political instability, or other risks, they might pull their money out. This reduces demand for our dollar and can cause it to weaken. It's like the loonie gets left out in the cold. Canada needs to stay attractive to foreign investors. We need to offer a stable political environment, a sound legal framework, and promising investment opportunities. Otherwise, investors might take their money elsewhere, leaving the loonie feeling a bit lonely. So if we want to avoid that 50-cent scenario, we need to keep those investors happy and coming back for more. Section 8, Crystal Ball Gazing, What the Experts Predict. Predicting the future is tricky business, especially when it comes to currencies. But economists and market analysts are always trying to figure out where the loonie is headed. They crunch numbers, analyze trends, and consult their crystal balls, maybe not literally. Some experts believe the loonie could weaken further in the coming years due to factors like persistent inflation, slowing global growth, and continued uncertainty. They see the possibility of it hitting 50 cents, especially if those negative factors come together like a perfect storm. Other experts are more optimistic. They believe the loonie will stabilize or even strengthen as the global economy recovers and Canada's economic fundamentals remain strong. They see the 50-cent scenario as unlikely, arguing that the loonie has solid underlying support. The truth is, nobody knows for sure. Economic forecasting is an inexact science, but by looking at the various predictions and understanding the factors at play, we can get a better sense of the possibilities, even if we can't predict the future with certainty. Section 9, Pocketbook Pinch, 50-cent dollar, your wallet feels it. Let's get real, folks. What would a 50-cent dollar mean for your wallet? In short, it would make imported goods more expensive. Think electronics, clothes, cars, anything we buy from other countries. That dream vacation to Disneyland? Yeah, it just got pricier. But it's not all bad news. A weaker loonie could actually boost our tourism industry. Canada becomes a more affordable destination for foreign visitors. So get ready for an influx of tourists, eager to experience our beautiful country at a bargain price. A weaker loonie could also make Canadian businesses more competitive. Our exports become cheaper for foreign buyers, potentially boosting sales and creating jobs. So, there might be some silver linings to that 50-cent cloud. Ultimately, the impact on your wallet depends on your spending habits. If you're a frequent traveler or love imported goods, you'll feel the pinch. But if you mainly buy Canadian products and enjoy staycations, you might not notice much difference. Section 10, Investment Intuition, Loonie Low, Opportunity Knocks. For investors, a weaker loonie can present both challenges and opportunities. On the one hand, Canadian assets priced in US dollars like stocks and bonds might lose value. But on the other hand, a weaker loonie can make Canadian companies more attractive to foreign buyers. Savvy investors might see this as a chance to buy Canadian assets at a discount. They could potentially profit when the loonie eventually rebounds. It's all about timing and having a good understanding of the market. A weaker loonie can also create opportunities for currency speculation. Traders might buy Canadian dollars when they're low, hoping to sell them later at a higher price. It's a risky game, but potentially lucrative for those who play it right. So while a 50-cent dollar might seem daunting, it's not necessarily all doom and gloom for investors. With careful planning and a bit of market savvy, it might even present some unique opportunities.